Good morning, children. Today we are going to do a few numerical problems first. So for that, all of you please open your book, page number 216. And there the first question you can say it this way. Judge the equivalent resistance when the following are connected in parallel. Okay, some resistors are connected in parallel. So what? They are not asking you to find out what is effective resistance, but they are asking you to judge it. Okay, so the first question is this, that is 1 ohm and 10 to the power 6 ohm. 1 ohm and 10 to the power 6 ohm are connected in parallel. So what do you have to say about their effective resistance? Yesterday I taught you, if resistors are connected in parallel, the effective resistance will be very less than the lowest of them. Less than what? Less than the lowest resistance there. So here also, if 1 ohm and 10 to the power 6 ohm are connected in parallel, the effective resistance will be definitely less than 1 ohm. That's the answer. You just explain it that way. The effective resistance will be less than 1 ohm. Now come to the second part of it. Here it is 1 ohm, 10 to the power 3 ohm and 10 to the power 6 ohm are connected in parallel. Again the answer is same. The effective resistance will be less than 1 ohm. Okay. Now come to the second question. Here it is given. See, whenever a numerical problem is to be done, the first part or 50% of it is when you are understanding that question. So you try to understand the question very clearly first. Then you have the formulas with you which you can use to find the answer. So first thing is analyze the question, understand it clearly. There are some factors. So numerical problem means some factors are given, some unknowns you are asked to find out, that's all. So there will be a connection between the unknowns and the given factors. That is given by the formulas which you have already learned. But the main part in numerical problems is to understand it. Okay, now come to it. An electric lamp of 100 ohm, a toaster of resistance 50 ohm and a water filter of resistance 500 ohm are connected parallel to a 220 volt source. So always these connections are done to a source of energy, either connected in series to a source of energy or connected in parallel to a source of energy. So I will draw the diagram here. 3 resistors are there. The first one is 100 ohm, second one is 50 ohm and the third one is 500 ohm, which is connected. These all are connected parallel. Parallel to what? Parallel to a source of energy. What is the source of energy here? 220 volt. An AC source of energy is the 220 volt, and this is it. This is given to you. An electric lamp. Okay, I am not repeating that. Now the question, part of it is that question is what is the resistance? What is, again you have to find a resistance. Resistance of what? Resistance of an electric iron connected to the same source that takes as much current as all 3 appliances. Okay, so the question is very simple. It is connected to another water heater, no, electric iron. Through that also the same current should pass. That is a clue there. Through that electric iron also same current. Whatever current is flowing in the circuit should pass through that. So what should be the resistance of it? There you will get the answer. Here some current will pass through in the circuit for a particular effective resistance. I can find out the effective resistance, total resistance in the circuit, and the resistance of that electric iron also should be same. Then only the same current will pass through it. Are you understanding me? There is an effective resistance in the circuit for a current, whatever, we can find out the current here also. The current will be passing through it, and the same current should pass through the electric iron. If the same current has to pass through the electric iron, the resistance of the electric iron should be the effective resistance of this. Then only the same current can pass, because the source of voltage is the same, potential difference is same. We have learned I is equal to V upon R. V is same, I is same, so R also should be same. So first I will find the current, total effective resistance I will find. That will be the resistance of the, that should be the resistance of the electric iron also. Then only the same current will pass through it. Two parts are there. First you have to find out the resistance of that electric iron, and you have to find the current also. It means whatever current is flowing through this will be the current passing through the electric iron also, and whatever is effective resistance, that will be the effective resistance of the electric iron. So first I can find the effective resistance. How are they connected? They are connected in parallel. So the formula should be 1 upon R, Rp, or just write R. 1 upon R is equal to 1 upon 100 plus 1 upon 50 plus 1 upon 500. So that should be equal to 500 will be there. So 5 plus 10 plus 1. So that will be 5 plus 10, 15 plus 1, 16. 16 upon 500. So this is 1 upon Rp. 1 upon Rp equal to 16 upon 500. So Rp should be equal to 500 upon 16. 500 upon 16 is equal to, I have already calculated it and kept, I will let you know. That is 31.25 ohm. This all you do yourself, the calculation part and all you do yourself. 31.25 ohm is the total effective resistance. So the resistance of the electric iron also should be this one. Now I can find the current through it. What is the formula for current? I is equal to V upon R. What is my V? V is equal to 220 volt. That is 220 upon R. What is my R? That is 13.25. I don't have time to calculate all here. That all you can do at home. The answer will be coming as somewhat 7.04 ampere. This will be the current. I think you got it. If you have any more doubt, you ask me. Okay. Now, come to the next question. What are the advantages of connecting electrical devices in parallel with the battery instead of connecting them in series? Yesterday I have discussed all that. First thing, all the appliances, all the gadgets will get the same potential difference, and second point, if one of them is failing, the other gadgets will be working, and the one we can work them separately. Each gadget, but whichever gadget you want to work at a time, we can work them separately. And one more is there, that is in series connection we cannot connect all that gadgets which need different currents, because in series the same current will be flowing. We have seen yesterday, if the gadgets are connected in series, all the gadgets will have the same current. But we, in our daily life, active practical life, we know that all the gadgets may not need the same current. They need, because resistance are also different. So we can connect the gadgets which need different currents in parallel connection, parallelly to the source of energy. Okay. Now come to the fourth question. How can three resistors of resistance 2 ohm, 3 ohm and 6 ohm. 3 resistors are there and their resistances are 2 ohm, 3 ohm and 6 ohm. They are to be connected. They have to be connected for what? To give a total resistance of first one 4 ohm. We need 4 ohm. From what? These 3 resistors, 2 ohm, 3 ohm and 6 ohm. You connect somehow, the effective resistance should be 4 ohm. And the second part is 1 ohm. Okay, come to the first part. the effective resistance should be 4 ohm. See, which are they? 2, 3 and 6. Okay. So, I need 4 ohm resistance as the effective resistance. 4 ohm is, I cannot say series connection, because if it is in series, it should have been more than 6. Effective resistance would be definitely, if all the 3 I am connecting in series, the effective resistance will be definitely more than 6. And if they are connected in parallel, then it will be definitely less than 2. But we need 4 ohm. So think that we have to go for the combination parallel and series. So I draw the diagram this way, because 2 plus 2, the hint will be like this. 3 ohm and 6 ohm are there. If you are connecting 3 ohm and 6 ohm parallel, 1 by 3 plus 1 upon 6 will be again come to 2. I can show that. See, 2 ohm, 3 ohm and 6 ohm this way. In this, if we are connecting this way, here 2 ohm is there, their combination will give you 2 ohm. So 2 plus 2, 4 ohm. See, what will be the effective resistance? I can call it as R1, R2 and R3. Effective resistance of R2 and R3 will be equal to 1 upon 3 plus 1 upon 6, that's equal to 6, and 2 plus 1, 3 by 6. Here I have to write 1 upon Rp. Effective resistance, this I can find out only in this way. This is parallel one. 1 upon Rp is equal to 1 upon 3 plus 1 upon 6 is equal to this way. So Rp will be equal to 6 upon 3, that is equal to 2 ohm. So now 2 ohm and 2 ohm. 2 plus 2 will be 4 ohm. So this is how we have to connect these 3 resistances, so that we will be getting 4 ohm as the effective resistance. And the second part you can do yourself, because it is 1 ohm. 1 ohm is less than 2 ohm, the lowest of that. So it should be in parallel. All of them should be in parallel. Okay. Now come to the next question. What is the highest, the lowest? First part is highest. Second part, the lowest total resistance that can be secured by combinations of 4 coils of resistance: 4 ohm, 8 ohm, 12 ohm, 24 ohm. 4 resistors are given. They are asking you how can we get maximum resistance from there. How can we get? By connecting them in series to a source of energy. And how can we get the lowest resistance from that? Connecting all these resistors parallel to a source of energy, this way. So that also you can do yourself. So I am not doing from there. Now we are going to learn the effect of electric current. Some effects of electric current you have already learned. In chemistry also we have learned one, that is electrolytic decomposition. That is when electricity is passing through water, it will decompose to hydrogen and oxygen. It means electricity can do some chemical reactions also. Some chemical work is also possible by electricity. That is a chemical effect. In the same way, when current is passing through a conductor, a magnetic field will be produced around it. That is a magnetic effect of current. But one other very useful effect of current is this, that is heating effect. Whenever electricity is passing through a conductor, that heat energy will be produced in the conductor. For example, if the fan is working for some time, you will not touch the fan after that, because the fan will be slightly hot. And the bulb glowing, if the bulb is glowing for some time, you will not be able to touch that bulb. Why? The bulb will be hot. Where is that heat energy coming from? That heat energy, that energy is transformable. We can transform one form of energy into another. Energy can be transformed from one form to another. So the electrical energy can be transformed into other forms of energy also. So we are learning the heating effect. That's the main one we have to learn. So we have seen when current is passing through a conductor, the conductor will be hot. But if you take a resistor, if the resistance of the material is more than that of a conductor, then the heat energy produced also will be much more. That is because for example in our heaters and our toasters, they are all, we can sometimes, if you are able to see that, we can see that coil sometimes it is glowing, it is becoming red hot. Why? Because of the heat energy produced. In the same way, how are we getting light from the filament bulb? When current is passing through that filament, tungsten filament, that filament will become very hot, and that glow is what we are getting it as the light energy. But the main transformation of energy is into heat, that and a part of it will be coming out as light energy also. The tungsten wire will become very hot. So this effect we are going to learn today. You have already learned what is potential difference. Remembering, potential difference is a work done to move unit charge from one point to another point in a wire. And we have the expression for potential energy this way. Potential difference, not potential energy. Potential difference is equal to work done upon Q, work done upon charge. I think you are remembering that. Potential difference is equal to work done upon charge. So from here I can get one expression for work done. Work done is equal to potential difference into Q. And in 9th standard you have learned that work done and energy are the same, or for doing the work energy is needed. They all are equal and their unit is also the same. This all you have learned in 9th standard. So instead of work done, there I can write it as energy also. Energy is equal to VQ. And in this particular situation, the energy is dissipated as heat energy. When electricity is passing, or when a source of energy is there, that heat energy will be dissipated. Energy will be dissipated in the form of heat energy. So I can specifically write the energy as heat. I am writing H. H stands for heat. Heat energy is equal to VQ. So one expression for heat energy produced in a resistor or a conductor will be equal to V into Q. How much is the potential difference and how much charge is flowing? Their product will be heat energy. And we can again change it, because many of we can change the expressions in many way. Look here, H is equal to V. You know what Q is. One more expression you know for Q. What is that? Q is equal to IT, current into time. So instead of Q I am writing VIT, because Q is equal to IT, current into time. So one more expression I am getting for heat energy produced in a resistor or a conductor also. Generally resistor, because there only heat energy will be produced for some purpose. Heat energy is equal to VIT. One expression, heat energy is equal to V into Q. I can again change it, because we know that Ohm's law. I can apply Ohm's law here. What is V? V is equal to IR. So if I am applying that, H is equal to, in the place of V I am applying IR. IR into IT. Why? Because V is equal to IR. So two I's are there. So I can write it as I square RT. H is equal to I square RT. This is Joule's law of heating. This equation stands for Joule's law of heating. Joule's law of heating states that heat energy produced in a resistor is directly proportional to the square of current and for a particular resistance, and heat energy produced in a resistor is directly proportional to resistance for a particular current and for particular time, and heat energy produced in a conductor is directly proportional to time for which current is flowing. This is Joule's law. Joule's law you will be learning only up to this form here in 10th standard. That is, heat energy produced is directly proportional to square of current for a particular resistor. And heat energy produced in a resistor is directly proportional to resistance for a particular current. And heat energy produced is directly proportional to the time for which current is flowing. All these three formulas, H is equal to VIT, this also comes. We can many a times, if potential difference and charge are given, total charge is given, and what is the heat energy produced, if they are asking, you can apply this formula, or VIT you can use, or H is equal to I square RT. So these three formulas you should know. For what? For heat energy. And remember, this heat energy you can change it in the question. It may not be all the time heat energy. They may ask energy, work done. You always remember that work done and energy, we can use it as interchangeable. So please be careful whenever work done is asked, that is same as energy is asking. Wherever energy is asking, what this is interchangeable, always you remember. The heating effect of current has some desirable consequences and some harmful consequences also. Harmful consequences are this. See, first of all, this electrical energy is wasted in the form of heat energy. It's dissipated in the form of heat energy wherever it is not needed. For example, if our fan is getting heated up when it is working for some time, that heat energy is dissipated, that much electrical energy is wasted there. So that is one, and one more problem is there. Whenever this electricity is passing through some of the components may get heated up, so their properties may vary, or they may even get spoiled. So these are some undesirable consequences of the heating effect of current. But we have some very useful consequences also. For example, as I have already told you, the bulb will be glowing. We are getting the light energy because of heat energy. Here, where is the heat energy? The tungsten filament, which is a very strong metal and which is having a very high melting point. It will be heated up. It will retain that heat. So thermally that filament should be isolated. So if something is touching it, or by conduction or convection, heat energy can be transferred. But we want to avoid that. So it should be thermally isolated so that it can retain maximum heat energy, so that it can glow. And actually maximum part of the electrical energy is getting converted to heat energy there, and a small part of the heat energy which is getting converted to light energy. This is one useful consequence of heating effect. And another thing is fuse. You all have heard of fuse. You know, if an unduly current, if more current is coming to the circuit, if a fuse is there, the circuit will be saved. What is the use of fuse? The fuse consists of a wire which is having appropriate melting point. For example, if a fuse is of 1 ampere fuse, if you are using, it means till 1 ampere current is passing through that fuse wire, it will be intact. But if more than 1 ampere current is passing through that fuse wire will melt because of the heat energy produced by that such appropriate heating material. That appropriate wire will be taken as fuse, so that if more current is coming, the fuse will melt. Fuse is melting means it is breaking the circuit. So the circuit and all the components in that circuit will be safe. So if a 5 ampere fuse means up to 5 ampere current, that fuse will be able to conduct. Current will be passing through that fuse wire also. But if more current is coming, that fuse wire will melt. While the fuse wire is melting, the circuit is broken. In your homes, you may not be familiar with fuse wire and all, you may be familiar with MCBs. MCBs are also like that. If more current is passing through it, the circuit will be breaking. The advantage of MCB is that after drip, we can again make it work. But fuse, if it is once broken, when it's melting, the wire will melt away. You have to put another fuse wire, then only the circuit will be working again. So for today we are stopping here, and tomorrow we will continue with the next topic. Thank you all.